happy birthday to you, a happy birthday to you. Every day of the year, may you find Jesus there. A happy birthday to you, a happy birthday to you, and the best one you ever had.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed.
As a family, we get together as frequently as we're able to bond, to demonstrate our love for each other, to show our appreciation to Mommy and to one another for whenever we were taught in the home that if one child needed something, everyone, and if that child was not able to provide it, we all had to chip in, and ensure that the needs were met. Okay? Every last one. I came to Nassau in 62, 61, 62. And everyone who came to Nassau after that had to come through me. I had to pave the way. I had to ensure that they got here and that they were taken care of. That was my responsibility. I couldn't put that onto anybody else because that's how we were taught.
Let me add to this, right? When I started teaching, I was making $163 a month. I left Exum and I went to San Salvador. When I came back one Christmas, my big brother said to me, "Let me see your bank book." I asked I couldn't. I couldn't.
Yes.
I got my bank book and I gave it to him. And he said to me, "I need so much money of this." I still asked no question. I went and I took it off and I gave it to him. And he said to me, "Now, Sandra, there is this piece of property somebody is paying for. They cannot meet the payment. So you are going to buy them out." So I went, he took me with him, I went to a lawyer and I signed over. He signed it over. I signed so that I could have been the sole owner of the property. Lee was ahead of me. She had her property, and our first cousin, Catherine, she got her property the same time.
Yes.
You understand? So, and he was more than a big brother. He was a father figure to us. We love our older brother. We don't say the big brother anymore because you know what I mean. He's the father figure because the other brothers are taller than he is. But he still demonstrates and he still has this air of authority.
And he did the same thing for Catherine. We were cousins, but we lived like
sisters.
Right.
All right. So we ask no questions, and that there is still that unity among us, and we owe it all to our mother.
We're sitting here with Alvin and his children, and we're going to invite each of them to talk to us about his fatherhood. Talk about your relationship with him. Talk about the impact that he's made on your life. I mean, his siblings have sure vocalized, the role he's played in their lives. And let's go kind of beyond the fact that he's daddy and he's supposed to feed me, clothe me, dress me, and educate me. So we want more relational. Talk about, and even if there have been, I don't want to say conflict or struggle, but whatever you overcome that developed and brought the relationship to what it is today, whatever you're comfortable with, y'all, let's go with that. First of all, we're going to introduce Renee, being the eldest. Renee, you're kind of interesting to us because I think you really speak to what Alvin is about. His siblings talked about how he has been there for them and he has paved the way for them. And what's so interesting about you is that you were, quote unquote, a child of his youth. And I think it spoke to his character the way he has taken responsibility from day one So tell us a bit about your earliest memories of him and how that journey has taken you to today. And you can take that from any angle you wish.
Interesting. The part about child of his youth. Well, initially I knew him as, I got to know him rather because he wasn't there. It's almost like I was introduced to him. I remember him bringing me new clothes and everything. So that was my father. But my father taught me leadership. He taught me confidence. He was a role model. He gave me no boundaries. The sky was the limit where my father was concerned. Whatever I did, or whatever I still do really, I run it by him. People find that weird, but you know, even when it comes to simple things like job, it's like, hey daddy, guess what? This person offered me a job. Guess what? What you think of that? Hey daddy, I need a house. Let's go look at this. So our relationship was always very, very close knit. He was always there for me. I mean, if you're looking at relationship, hey, I needed somebody who was going to treat me like my father. He had to be a provider. If he wasn't a provider, nothing was going to happen because everything was run by him. I'll start there. As far as I'm concerned, my siblings are like my children because that's the gap that was between us. So it's like, this is my son and that's my daughter, despite the fact that they're my siblings. I was always, I would say, a role model. Like,
You're the beloved sister name.
you understand? So there was never a difference because when my stepmom, my first stepmom, went away to school, Daddy didn't tell me. I didn't ask Daddy, what do you want to eat? This is what I'm cooking. This is what we're having today. No one told me this is the grocery list. Daddy, this is the grocery list. He went and shopped for it. So it was always we always had a very close relationship.
And I find it interesting that your siblings do call you Sister Nay. And it's such an endearing term, I think. It speaks to relationship, as you mentioned. Al, talk to us.
To be put on the spot. Okay. Yes, the term Sister Nay. We did. That's how we referred to her. And yes, as you know, Sister Nay stated, she was our role model. And I know I looked up to her a lot, like growing up. You want me to look at the camera, right?
Yeah, so keep forgetting that the camera is there.
Yeah, stand behind the camera because you're anyway.
And kneel down.
I looked up to Renee a lot. Like, yeah, she was, Bessie was my mother, but Renee was also my mother as well. Got in trouble. If I did something wrong, she will let me know. Like, there was no ifs, buts, ands about it. What did you do? Why did you do this? I don't know, but I learned from it. If Daddy wasn't around, I'm listening to Sister Nay. Like, this is.
That was the present voice of authority.
Yes.
So now see, the Sister Nay thing.
Yes.
Talk.
But I think I must have been probably 2 or 3, and I distinctly remembered her beating me for not calling her today. And I just was tired of getting beaten. It still sticks. But
You literally call her that now?
yes, yes. I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable calling her anything else, to be honest, I'm afraid to get knocked out, but she, on a serious note, was always more of a parental figure, and I always looked to her. I remember even when Mommy passed away, or was very low, I looked to her for strength, even, she was just very confident and very level-headed, and just very comforting to know that she was there, so, yeah. That's my take on that.
So,
And following with that, after when, mommy passed, and going off to school, like that was that's a different chapter. But just to kind of little bit go into it, like I wasn't in a good place. So like like I would call Renee and talk, and she would offer me advice that helped me handle what I was going through. So, and I can't thank her enough for her guidance and her support to say, even though like I'm thousands of miles away, I can always call. It doesn't matter what time of day, just call. You need to come home, don't worry about it, just come home. So that in a sense gave me the support that I needed at that time to get through what I was dealing with.
And so, Alvin, you have 3 very close-knitted children. That must be something special to listen to. So how do you feel about all of that?
Well, I am happy to hear their views and how they, what I've done. I did it because it was a duty as a father. I'm supposed to be a provider. I'm supposed to be not only a father, but someone with whom my children can communicate with and share their problems. I think I learned early on from my father, Daddy. I was able to communicate with him very easily when many other young men or children could not communicate with their father because they felt that, oh, that's a voice of authority and you don't have a conversation with your father. And I did not want that sort of thing to come. I did not want to represent that feeling. And therefore I communicated with my children. I think all of my communication, well, not all smiles and everything else, because you always have to discipline and you always have to be the authoritative figure in the family, but not to the extent where they felt that they could not come to you or communicate with you. And we got very, 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 I think, closer after the passing of Bessie. Then I realized that their lives depended on me and my life depended on them. So it was a partnership thing that brought us even closer together because we had to draw on each other's strength and the strength from everybody else. And I have no regrets. I feel very good. I'm happy the way they have all turned out. I'm very proud of them. And I think they will continue to make a positive contribution in the lives of the family and to the country. They are doing it now. In the area of adversity and all that sort of thing, there were other people who contributed to the survival of that experience and that transition, that period, because due to the uniqueness of our family, I was able to increase my family by 2, and that's when I brought in to my household Debbie and Perry to live with me, to be support for the children, and to make them feel that they were not alone. So, and I thank Debbie and Perry because they willingly, I simply told them that they had to move in. And as usual, when you say, yes, I told them they had to move in, and they moved in, no problem. And so you can see the uniqueness of the family and how we live. When one is in need of something, everyone comes in. I just wanted to introduce that part.
That's brilliant. We've come to this point where they have grown and they're moving and transitioning into their own individual families, and you have the the joy of having seen them, you know, bring spouses. You're one of those notable persons, not only of Exuma, but of the Bahamas proper. You've crossed over into two professional fields, one in the area of architecture, one in the area of education. It's interesting, having spoken to Dulcie, and I've been following Dulcie, that she ended up touching both the career paths of both of her parents. She started in accounting with her mom, what her mom did, and then she's kind of dabbling heavily into architecture. I mean, how do you feel about this latest twist that she's made? She didn't directly follow you, but she ended up kind of like in your field. How does that, do you feel some particular pride that part of what you've established in this country as an architect is going to be somewhat walked out through at least one of your children?
Well, I'm elated, quite frankly, because I thought earlier, I thought the fact that I was in architecture had already built a business, that one of the children perhaps would have followed in my footpath, but not one indicated that their willingness, that that's what they wanted to do. And I thought, I was disappointed, yes. And then I got happy again when Stacy said she was going to do it, and then
Stacey
that was,
being your niece.
and then, yes, my niece, and then that was short-lived. So I says, anyway, all is not lost. I still have Leo.
Loyal.
Yes, you know, Leo was with me from the very, very, very beginning as a student, and he has never worked for anybody else other than me. So I says, anyway, I haven't struck out. But I am glad that Dulcie has the interest. I don't know what kindled the interest, but she's rather good at it, and that's very happy. I figure that once, when I would have gone off the scene, at least somebody could associate themselves with what I am now doing. And that is very, very, very good. Mind you, I don't think I think Al and Dulcie crossed it somehow, because the field is kind of intertwined. Renee moved into the human resource area, dealing with people. You know, she likes to talk, so she's the talk in the family. And Al and Dulcie, they don't say much, I suppose, on these certain times. But I think they've come into their own, and they're doing very, very well. I'm happy about that.
Al, tell us, you have, from your school days, kind of left the Bahamas. You've moved to Canada. You've made your life there. Tell us a bit about what you do in Canada and how life has been being away from us. How has it been for you, and how has your journey been?
My journey has been, let's say, a roller coaster. At the end of that roller coaster, I am happy to say that there's balloons. With saying balloons, meaning that it's all kinds of wonderful. I am a network technician in Canada. I deal with, some people say, oh, you're the geek. I don't see myself as a geek, but at times when I'm at work and I start explaining stuff, then it comes out, yes, I am a geek. And I would have never thought, like growing up in school, that I would be a geek. My strongest subject has always been math. I always liked math. I guess you can chalk that up from primary school. Like it always has been math. Like just been drilling like multiplications, division, you name it. Like, and then going to like quadratic equations, and then touching with calculus. Like I just enjoyed it. So finding out that that's what I like and went into that field, like I enjoy it. It just comes naturally easy to me, and even growing up, just taking things apart and just exploring like the electronic components of things, and just for some reason I just knew how things worked and how to fix it and why it worked.
So we won't see you drawing any houses or any land.
No, unfortunately, no. No, you will see me doing probably the home automation part of your houses if you want, and making it work. You're welcome, Dulcie.
Thank you.
So there's synergy there.
Yeah. So that's what I do. That's what I do.
It's lovely that everybody has taken their path. And Dulcie, you want to tell us a bit about how the journey into, or the way you fell into your father's happy place by touching his field? Can you tell us a bit about, just a bit about how you did that?
To keep it as brief as I could, I never really knew exactly what I wanted to do after high school, while in college, and I knew that I needed to make a decision. Accounting just came up as the first thing for whatever reason. I pursued that. Doing it, I never really grew up love for it. You know, it was just something, okay, I'm going to do this as a means of an income. But I found myself loving interior design, and then alongside that came the drawings, and I made now today the architectural drawings along with interior design, and I just love it. It's just a part of me. It's something that I never dreamed that I would do, and I love it. You know, so it came about as a result of me just not being happy doing accounting. Yeah.
So it's brilliant that, you know, at least some part of Mr. Alvin Roll lingered deeply in one of his offspring, and added to his family is the first, or should I say his second son,
Yes.
and that would be Mr. Tony Barrow. Tony, tell us, what is your relationship with Mr. Alvin?
Okay, my relationship with Mr. Alvin Roll is my father-in-law, but I don't really consider him my father-in-law. I really consider him my father, because in growing up or meeting Renee, I developed a special bond with what I call Daddy now, and this is really a special moment for me. Or he's a special person in my life, and I believe that in my association with Renee, my wife, that my relationship with Daddy has gone even further, and I really appreciate that. He has taught me some things on marriage, believe it or not, that I should look out for, things that would strengthen my bond and being a married man, and how to be more of a man in general. And this is what I really appreciate in him, and I appreciate it very much.
And Al,
Yes.
being in Canada, you gave us a lovely addition to the lovely Lada. Lada, welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love